So I've got some good news today. The website's back up. And we're going to have a second website as well called trwbible.com. That's where the translation work is going to live, in addition to other useful tools for you to understand the scriptures. But the Rooted Word will continue to have the teachings and the general tools for the general public. For now, we've got the Rooted Word back up. So you can go there and donate. Please do go and donate because I do need that help. I have had the website down for 6 weeks with no donations. So go ahead and get on down there. It's in the description down below. And donate what you can. Now, on with the lesson. So today we're talking about the devil and Jesus. And the main thing that I wanted to draw out of this is that the devil knew who Jesus was. So what was he doing in the desert with Jesus? And you say, well, how did the devil know who Jesus was? He was saying, if you're the Son of God, if you're the Son of God. Yes, but look at this. The demons knew who Jesus was and cried it out loud publicly with their lips. Yeah, let's have a look at it. It's in Mark. Right here in Mark chapter 1, in verse 23, and there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou, Jesus of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee, who thou art, the Holy One of God. And Jesus rebuked him, saying, hold thy peace and come out of him. So they knew that Jesus' role was to come and destroy them as demons. So the demon knew who Jesus was. And if that's not enough, turn to Mark 5. It says, and when he, Jesus, has come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains. Because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces, neither could any man tame him. And always night and day he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him. Right there, he knows who he is. He ran and worshipped him and cried with a loud voice and said, what have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. So again, he said even more specifically that Jesus is the Son of the Most High God, and he was afraid of being tormented by Jesus as the other demon was afraid. They knew who Jesus was. There was no doubt whatsoever. Therefore, the devil's only playing a game when he's, if you're the Son of God. He's trying to make Jesus think that he's not certain that Jesus is the Son of God, and Jesus is going to have to step up and prove it to him. Okay? That's the game of the devil with Jesus in the desert. So let's get back to that. And he said to him, if thou be the Son of God. Contrast that with the two demons who cried out, I know who you are, Jesus, the Son of the Most High God. They didn't say anything doubtful whatsoever. So the devil absolutely knows who Jesus is at this point. So when he's saying, if thou be the Son of God, he's not saying that he doesn't know. He's trying to trick Jesus into thinking that he doesn't know for sure, and get Jesus to act pridefully to prove who he is. Just like when they said when he was on the cross, he saved others, save himself. If you come down now, we'll believe you. Same thing the devil did. But for them, they really didn't know for sure. They were not sure. But the devil here knows because the demons know. There's no doubt. So when you hear teachings on this that talk about, well, the devil's trying to get him to eat bread, to break his fast, trying to get him to jump off and tempt God. No, those are things the devil said in order to try to continue with that deceit with Jesus, to try to get him to try to prove that he's the Son of God and who he is. It's not the eating of the bread or the jumping off the building. It's the pride inside of trying to prove something, and especially proving it to the devil. Come on, of all people, right? Trying to prove it to the devil. No. So when you hear those preachings, they're focusing on those things, and that the devil was trying to trick Jesus into doing those things. No, the devil was trying to deceive Jesus about what the devil knew about him. So that's what it was. So you've got to keep this in context. The devil was trying to tempt Jesus to be prideful. And that's obvious because just before he was driven into the desert by the Holy Spirit, the very end of Matthew chapter 3, it says, "And lo, a voice from heaven saying, 'This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased.'" So Jesus could have been puffed up with pride about that, of God's approval on him, because the very next verse, "Then was Jesus led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil." Tempted in what way? Tempted to be prideful in the first two parts of the temptation. So notice what pride does to a person. The devil reveals it here. He showed Jesus all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, and said that these could be his if he would become enslaved to the devil by bowing down and worshiping him. That pride is the doorway to slavery to Satan. That's the thrust of the temptation of Jesus in the desert. That's what Jesus was opposing by staying faithful and true to serve God only. He kept his focus on God even after he had just had the approval of God the Father speak out loud from heaven over him in his baptism, just before the Holy Spirit drove him into the desert. And here's the devil trying to leverage the emotions of being elated by that, so happy and excited about it, trying to twist that into some sort of little kind of pivot point. The devil can and turn it into pride. And then through that pride, trick you into becoming enslaved by Satan. Then it says, "And again the devil taketh them up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them." The glory of all the kingdoms of the world. "And said unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve." So Jesus confronted the devil with humility before God and commanded the devil to worship God and to worship him only and serve him only. Keep that in mind as you make your decisions throughout the day and the week and the month. Keep these things in mind. May the Lord bless you as you seek him with all your heart.